Hey guys, I'm Ines. I write kissing books, and here's a flip through of my 2020 bullet journal so far. Let's get started. So I keep in the first part of this, it says one of my goals this year is to grow my newsletter, and I got this somewhere, can't exactly remember where, but it's a plan to pick a niche, which I've done, stick to it, which is really hard for me. I've gone from writing erotic romance to romance featuring moms to urban fantasy to paranormal to it's a mess. But I'm trying to pick a niche and stick to it, and I'm really focused on building my newsletter subscribers, funneling the readers through my books. I'm really good at that, and automating the process. So I'm good at the stuff down here. It's just the one up there that I kind of suck at. Okay, in my first bullet journal, I really used this log page, but I stopped this year because it just wasn't serving me. I made a 2020 publishing schedule, and right now all that's on it are my sweet romances, because publishing under an S, I got burned out. I wrote a lot of books over the last few years under an S, a lot of paranormal romance and urban fantasy, and I got burned out. And when I got burned out, I started writing sweet romance, and I'm writing them really fast too. But I got a lot of sweet romance books, and they're selling really well, so that's kind of what I'm focusing on. But I'm gonna get back my paranormal and urban fantasy stuff this year. That's the goal. But you can see what I do is I put down the name, the title, and the date that I either plan to publish it or the date that I did publish it. So you see I've got a lot planned for the rest of the year for the sweet romance. And I am working on some Ines books, but I'm allowed to write them slower because I don't want to burn out again. And then I just wrote a list of all of my books, because I've written a lot of books and sometimes I forget what they all are. So I've got all of my series listed here. What's in pen is what's written. What's in pencil is what is not written, what I hope to. My passion is to get back to my nights, but they just don't sell well. Like, I love writing mythology and fairy tales in modern day, but I just can't figure out how to get them to sell well, but I'm not giving up on them. What sells better is my paranormal romance, like my Moonkind series, and The Last Dragons, which I'm having recovered right now, and which you have probably seen on my channel, The Midnight Doms, is selling really well. But I'm kind of tired of writing her vampire lore too. I'm a mess. Ines is a mess. These are my sweet romance books. Oops, hang on. These are my erotic romance books, which I've tried to not bother with right now, because erotic romance is just fun to write. I don't make a lot of money because it's a churn in erotic romance. You gotta write like a book a week with erotic romance, and that will burn me out. So these are the first books that I published, the Pleasure Hound series, because I love writing erotic romance. It makes me happy. And then these are a bunch of shorts that I wrote. Right now, all of my erotic romance is up in Kindle Unlimited. They're very short books. And they're up there, and I try not to touch them. I try not to touch the erotic romance. These are my sweet romance books. I don't talk about them much on this channel because I try to keep those worlds separate, because my sweet romance readers will not come over to the dark side. But it's funny because my paranormal and urban fantasy and even my erotic romance readers will eat up my sweet stuff, which is fun. And this is what I mean when I said that I don't stick to a niche really well, because the Brides of the Purple Heart Ranch sell really well. And then I started writing a royal romance series, which nobody really wanted to read. I'm a mess. But yeah, these are those books. And I started writing these a year and a half ago. So I wrote these really fast too. I'm a fast writer. This is my master plan for 2020. It has already changed. So these were my professional goals: to write books for a hungry market and market my backlist books, specifically Shanae, because she pays my bills. But a lot of this has changed. The Sweet Redemption, I'm not going to write. Pemberley Ranch, which was going to be my Jane Austen retelling, I'm too scared to write. Holiday Romance, I don't think it did well for me. So I'm trying to focus on the Purple Heart Ranch. And in Ines books, I started writing in other worlds, and that was working for me because it was somebody else being in charge of it. But I really am feeling the pull to get back to my world. So follow me, we'll see what happens. My second goal is to grow my reader newsletter and increase current reader engagement. And I feel like I've done a great job with that. My goal is to get Shanae to 10K subscribers, and I'm halfway there. and to grow Inessa's newsletter to 10K. And Ines got there before, and then I weeded the list down, and now I'm building it back up. I think it's at about 7,000 right now. I updated my autoresponders. I send weekly for both Shanae and Ines, so I'm doing really great there. Then my third goal this year, my third professional goal, was to open new distribution channels, namely audiobooks. And I did the first Shanae book, and it did really well. And then COVID happened, and I just got scared to spend money. So the same with Ingram Spark, where that's print distribution, but I have to buy a whole bunch of ISBNs, and they're pricey, and I'm scared to spend money because we don't know what's going to happen with the economy. Then I had some personal goals, achieve my right size body and get stronger, and to pay down debt. I'm doing pretty well with paying down debt. I'm like halfway through paying down all of my revolving credit card debt. So I'm doing really well there, and I think I'm going to focus on my student loan either at the end of the year or starting next year. I'm not sure. I'm scared to spend money. We've gone through this. This was an affirmations page, but you're supposed to say affirmations daily, and I'm not good at that. I need to work on that. I went to this amazing conference last year called RAM, and I watched this amazing author, Cora Seaton. She basically did this master plan, and it looks something like this. And I thought it was so awesome. And I tried to replicate it, and I got really excited about it, but I didn't finish it through. But the idea is you have something going on every month in one of these boxes. You would have your new releases up here, and as you see, I pretty much publish a book a month. And then BookBub featured deals. That's why I've been making some money. So I got like 4 BookBubs last year, where some people don't get any. And 3 of them were Shanae, and 1 of them was Ines. So I feel very lucky and fortunate. But so my goal was to have like 2 BookBubs, like 1 a quarter, so 2 for half a year, and then be promoting my series starters and be promoting my backlist. But this spread just didn't work out. It's really pretty, but it just didn't work out. Now they did the writing pipeline, because I plan on a quarterly system, because I'm constantly watching the book market. And when I see things either changing or not working out the way that I had hoped they would, then I change too, because I'm in this business to make money. I can tell stories and just keep them in my head. But the reason that I publish my stories is to make money. So I just couldn't keep up with this. It was not working for me. Okay. Plan books for 2020. Yeah. So there's no way I was going to write all these books, but this is what was in my head, and I just had to get them down on the paper so that they had a place to live, like I was going to forget them or something. I had an idea to write sweet bad boys, and I just don't think sweet bad boys work. I think sweet readers like alpha males, like cowboys and billionaires, but actual bad boys, I'm not convinced that they're there for that. These are the remaining 4 night books that I had to write, and I'm going to do it one day. I just don't know when. I had this idea because I love fairy tales. I had an idea to do Grimm's fairy tales. I still have that idea. We'll see if I can make it work. I wanted to do some more short stories with NS and my erotic pen name, but I told myself no, because she doesn't make any money. And because she's not paying any bills, she can't get any stories told. These are the Jane Austens that I wanted to do. Yeah, it's just things that I wanted to do, and I just keep them here because it makes me feel like they're somewhere. So yeah. So this is my writing Kanban, and I do this quarterly. So this was for January and March. I have my one for the spring, and it'll make sense when I flip to that page. But these are the 3 books that I moved all the way through this Kanban setup down here. And like I said, you'll see another iteration of that. I tried to do the same thing with my newsletter. I don't think it worked out really well. Last year I did this Don't Break the Chain, where every day I would color in a block, because I do something for my writing every day. Red was revise, purple was plot, green was write. And I did really well with this last year, but it just didn't it didn't pan out this year, which is fine. This was a false start for January. I love opening up my calendars to see this, to see all the bright, shiny stars, all the pretty stars. Every star represents 500 words that I wrote that day. I used to keep this up on a wall calendar, but it would break my heart to take to tear the calendar month off and put it in the trash. So I started putting it in my bullet journal, and now I get to look at it whenever I want, and it just makes me so happy. So the way that I set these up, I put a pipeline over on the line of what I hope to get accomplished. And you see Loving the Bad Boy was green. And then that's the days that I plan to write Loving the Bad Boy. And then the Rancher's BFF sister, and that's, so you see how it goes. And then her Vampire Lord is pink. And I write pretty much every day. I write or I plot or I think about it every day. And when I get tired, I stop, because burnout is real. So I just write until I'm tired, and then I stop, and then I rest until I'm not tired anymore. These were my January goals. They're going to be pretty much the same throughout, but grow my reader engagement, sending the weekly emails, new autoresponder, increase my income sources. Find a Way is doing really well for me. I haven't done anything with Chirp, and I was trying to get the next book narrated, but I started getting scared. And my daughter goes to school, and she's at a university in Italy. She's home now at the time of this recording, but I knew what was happening with this COVID stuff really early, so I started getting nervous. Right size body, try to make sure that I'm feeling the creative well, and these are going to be repeated a lot. So here's my weekly spread, and I really use my Bujo for weekly spreads more than I use them for daily spreads, because I like to look at the week ahead of me. And this setup, I was trying to track my time, like what my productivity by the hour, and this is where you'll see that color scheme again. Purple is plot, green is write, red is revise, yellow is admin, and gray is development. And then I would plan what writing tasks were the most important for me to do. And then I'd break that out between the business tasks and the personal tasks. And then I kind of plan it out, because I love colors, in case you haven't figured that out. I love color coding things. So I would start to plot that out. And that's kind of how I did my daily. And you're going to see that repeated a lot here. I tried with different spreads where I tried to stick to a meal plan, and you'll see these just were not working for me. And there were lots of weeks where I just stopped using that this productivity tracker. It just wasn't working for me. And I pretty much, you can see, I would plan to write 4 chapters, and then I plan my block of when I'd write chapters. And this is like my son's appointments. My son had a lot of physical ailments. My 17-year-old son was in like aqua therapy because he hurt himself, and we had a lot of appointments. But you can see I block out the time that I'm going to write, and I would write. And then we get to February, and in February my goal was to finish up the Rancher's BFF sister. I was still writing her Vampire Lord. My gosh, I've been writing this book for a while, which is telling me something. Also, I started the Rancher Takeaway. And you see that I put that there because that was what I was going to start if I had finished, and I didn't finish. But you see, Pemberley Ranch, I was supposed to start, and I didn't actually start it. February goals are going to be pretty much the same as the others. Reader engagement, weekly emails, promo opportunities, starting ads, so forth and so on. And then I would take those goals and then try to break them out. But you see, I started to just not use this anymore. But I constantly use this guy. The daily spreads, just the daily personals goals, which just wasn't working for me. The personal trackers, they just weren't working for me. So you're going to see pretty soon where I just kind of stopped doing that altogether. But this is February. And I pretty much keep my writing schedule. When I say I'm going to write, I usually sit down and write, usually. And here's March. See, pretty much the same things going on, pretty much the same goals. They started to really recur. Look at how March looked at, nice and pretty and shiny. And you see, I started trying to also track my fitness. That didn't work out. I got The Runaway Bride started this month. I also was working on a project called Seabold, which I wrote this month, but that was pretty much it. That was all that I did. And then here's the weeklies. They look the same. More weeklies. And I think by about now, this is when I stopped doing the productivity tracker because it just wasn't working for me. And by now we were in COVID and we were in isolation by this point. And I started to write up a storm, man. I limited this just to writing tasks, or I broke it out to writing tasks, business tasks, and personal tasks. And you see, the writing tasks work for me and the business tasks work for me, even though there are a lot of is recurring. Like I have to do my newsletter every week. I have to plan my promo, and I do that stuff. I like having it here because I like to see that I actually checked it off. Okay, here's the Kanban, the writing Kanban that I'm actually working on right now. So even though you see all these books here, I'm not actively working on all of them. But here's the books that when it says planned, I like to kind of bank these books here because this is what I know I'm supposed to be thinking about. Then plotting, these books I am actively plotting right now. I'm actively plotting Rebellious Sacrifice, which I'm going to actually plot live on YouTube. Here's the Rancher's Love at First Sight. And the only reason that I'm plotting this right now, that I'm actually drafting the 4th book, and this is the 5th book, is because these two are going to take place at the same time. So as I'm writing this, I'm making notes about what happens in here. The second Midnight Dawn's book is plotted. I'm just having trouble writing it. I'm not feeling it. Don't tell Lee and Renee, but I'm not feeling it right now. So it's been here I started writing this in January, and I keep stopping. It's awful. But so yeah, this is what's planned. And sometimes I just like to start plotting whole series. So I'll just move things down into plotting so that I can see what the whole series is going to look like. But this is my dirty draft. And if you've watched any of my Write With Me's, you see I write really dirty. I just get in there and I just throw words on the page because revision is where I shine. I just need to get words there. I need to feel the story. I need to understand the characters and their motivation. And the only way that I can really do that is to just sit down and start typing. So once I get all the way through the dirty draft and I write all the way through, it doesn't serve me to go back and start revising because I can't see the whole thing until I get to the end. So the second draft is where I thrive. And right now, Seabold is with Lee Savino, and we're kind of passing it back and forth. This book, Rancher's Runaway Bride, is with the editor. She should be getting it back to me probably this weekend. And it takes me like a day or two to run through the edits and clean them. And then that book is on pre-order, but it gets moved down here once it gets loaded. So that's how the Kanban works for me. And I just move the tabs through. And I'll try to remember to link this in the notes below. But this is where I get those tabs. And they sell it on Amazon. I'll try to remember to link that. So then we get back to April's goals. Again, my goals are pretty much the same. April's words. I started to slow down in April because isolation was starting to get to me. Everybody's here. I don't really have and I don't write in quiet, but when my kids call my name, I give them my attention. Those little stinkers, they get my attention when they want it. But I had a really ambitious April, probably like a lot of us did, because I was like, well, I'm home. I don't have any responsibilities. I can get a lot done. Let me take advantage of this. And being at home just isn't my process. I need to be out in order to write. I like to go to coffee shops. I don't sit still well. Even though I make a really good living from my books, I still go out and do things. For a while, I worked at my gym at the front desk just because I needed to be around people. I started to substitute teach at the local middle school. And when I do these things, I'm so productive. It's crazy. I don't know why, but I'm so productive. And also teaching is a passion of mine. But I'm so productive, but I didn't do any subbing in April as opposed to March, where I got a lot of February. I was subbing in February, and I was subbing in March, a little bit subbing in March, whatever March is. But I got some work done, man. But then April, and things started to spread out. Yeah, I thought I was gonna write some NS erotic romance. Didn't happen. Yeah, April was interesting. Yeah, April was interesting is pretty much all I can say. But I started to decorate with stickers to try to get myself more motivated to do the exercise and the healthy task of my personal stuff. But yeah, then the blessing of staying home was reading. I started to read like a normal person, like a normal me, meaning like a book a day or a book every other day, which is normal for me. And I did an April challenge. I did a Goodreads challenge. I'll try to remember to link that too, where there's 10 books that you read, but they're tied to something. Like this book was tied to the birthday, if you had an April birthday, and I think the colors of April were blue or something. I can't remember. This one, I think the flower of April is a daisy, so there had to be like yellow on the cover or something like that. But yeah, so I completed the challenge. I also got onto I started rereading Immortals After Dark because I was listening to this podcast, Fated Mates, and I love listening to people talk about books. And I remember the first time I read through the Immortal After Dark books, I wasn't into it. I just read it because everybody else is reading it. And now I'm reading it again because these girls are reading it, and their insight is just so interesting. But anyway, yeah, I completed my challenge. I even read more books over my challenge. Yeah, and then I really started to change up and started to really play around with stickers because I had a lot of time to actually make these pretty. So they get prettier and prettier, but still the habit trackers they're just not working for me. So this was last week, I think. Yeah. And then we got to May, and May being Star Wars month, for May the 4th, I put a Yoda quote here. And then here's still my monthly goals. These stickers are from Planning with Kay, who I adore. I love watching people plan, and I adore her stickers. So I'll try to remember to put that down below as well. Here are my stickers, and I didn't write today, and I'm not going to write today. I'm kind of taking the day off just because every once in a while I want a lazy day. Like I say, I'll write, and then when I get tired, I stop. And I woke up tired today. I woke up with a headache, and so I was like, I plotted 4 chapters today, like really in-depth 4 chapters, but I get no stickers for that, which is really sad. But I'm probably going to write all 4 of those chapters tomorrow because I know exactly what happens, and I just need to sit down at the keyboard and write those. But this month, I'm working on Rancher Takes His Runaway Bride, which is done, actually. I'm working now on Rancher Takes His Star-Crossed Love for Shanae, and I'm supposed to be working on her Vampire Lord. Don't tell Lena Renee I'm not working on her Vampire Lord. I think I'm going to work on my Dragons book, and I'm going to plot that live and probably write that live. And I got a book back called Santa Beastly. It was a sweet, another sweet, and I was going to change it up to fit into my Purple Heart, my Rebel Worlds world, but that's not selling. So I'm like, dude, put it in your Purple Heart world. So I'm going to make that story a freebie, and I need to start working on that. It took me like 2 days to fix it. But that's where we are so far in May. This is my May reading challenge, which I am 1, 2, 3 books finished. I'm working on the 5th book. And this is what the dailies are looking like. I still was trying out that habit tracker, still wasn't working for me. And this is how my weeklies were looking. And I'm doing again, these are Planning with Kay stickers. This is, I think, a happy planner. I'll try to link all that stuff. I'll try to remember. But this is where we are this week so far. I'm trying to get up and walk every morning. That's what this is. And then work on Star-Crossed Love in the morning. And then I was supposed to be doing her Vampire Lord lives, but I did one on Monday, and then I just didn't. Yeah. And I'm trying to put myself motivational fitness quotes down here, which is really working, because when I open this up and I look at it, then I kind of get like all happy and like, yeah, let's go, let's do it. And this over here, I'm posting an Instagram every day, and that's been working for me. I'm trying to post my daily pages every day for Instagram. So this is what I was supposed to do today. I did sit down and like handwrite her Star-Crossed Love, but I didn't do her Vampire Lord. I'm gonna be doing reading one of my free stories, her Valkyrie, the Valkyrie Sacrifice, whatever the story's called. I'm gonna be reading it. I recorded a video, and now I'm doing the Bujo flip through, so I get to check this off. Woohoo! I love checking things off a checklist. It makes me so happy. So that's what's up. And then I'm gonna write this out today and make that work. But yeah, that's my Bujo. Oh, and then I started a brain dump. This is what my ideal day would look like. It has not been like that at all this week, but this is what it would look like. And I'm constantly writing these little notes of what I want to do with Shanae and what I should be focused on for Shanae and NS and NS. And then I was talking a little bit, like I was asking myself, like, what do you want your life to look like? Because both of my kids are almost out of the house. I've got one a freshman and another, my son, who will be a senior in just a couple of weeks. He's a junior right now. He's finishing up his junior schoolwork. And then he was talking to me the other night about, I think I want to try to graduate high school a little early and go to community college before going to university. And I was like, bet. I'll have an empty home, and I'm kind of excited about it. So I was thinking, well, what do I want to do now with my kids gone? Because I need more than writing. But that's kind of what I want to do. I want to immerse myself in Romancelandia. I want to teach writing. I want to join more writing groups. I want to take more writing classes. I want to go on writing retreats. Like that's what I'm dreaming of. I talked a little about Santa Beasley, the story that I'm putting into making a free story. It's going to be called Courage to Heal. I need to make an autoresponder for that to get people onto my newsletter to get me closer to that 10K for Shanae. And then I was thinking about serializing a story that I'm going to read on YouTube. We'll see. And then I want to do a YouTube giveaway to try to get some more subscribers, but I need to figure all that stuff out. But that's where I am. Oh, one more page. So I'm writing Star-Crossed Love, and there's a 10K a day challenge in May, and I just made this page because I thought it would be pretty. So the idea with this is that for every 100 words, I would color in a little leaf. For every 500 words I get, I would color in a flower, just because it's pretty, and I like pretty things. But that's my Bujo so far. I'm going to be back on Sunday to plan the next week of writing live. I hope to see you guys there. Thanks so much for tuning in. I hope you subscribe to my channel. I hope you give this video a nice thumbs up. There we go, thumbs up. And I'll see you next time. Bye.